Hey guys, welcome back. This is Trav. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to build a villager trading hall for the PlayStation. I've been at work on this for quite a while, doing a lot of testing. The mechanics have changed quite a bit, and I don't want this video to go too long. However, I want to make sure that I convey all the important points when it comes to mechanics, and then I'm going to show you how you can build a trading hall that's, from so far from all my testing, is 100% efficient. Now, that's not saying there's no bugs on console. There have been instances where, villagers have lost their trades, or they haven't been able to restock for some situations beyond our control. However, I think most situations in which this happens, or in which people complain about this, it's actually a user error. So I'm trying to make it to where we could rule out as many user errors as possible, so those kind of things do not happen in your world. Okay? I've been trying to hold off in this video a little bit because I was waiting until Minecon to see if we were going to get some kind of update, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So we're going to go ahead and get this done. So at first I'm going to lead off with talking about some mechanics that are important to know when it comes to villager trading. And then we're going to get into a couple of lessons I've learned as far as this individual cell design for each trader. I'm going to give you then a full tutorial on how to make a cell and how to set up a trading hall. And then we're going to finish with some thoughts on how to integrate this with your breeder. And I'll leave the link to my breeder that I use in the description below. Okay, so we're going to get into this. It's going to be a lot of information. Just let me know if you have any questions afterwards in the comments. I'll be happy to address them. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe for future PlayStation 4 content. Alright, so that being said, let's get into some mechanics. This is how an example of how the villager hall could look. So, first things first. The villagers now need access to their workstations. Okay, so that means they need an open block next to the workstation that they could use to access it. They also need a bed so that they can restock. Some designs separate the bed from the cell or the room that the trader's in. Okay, and as long as it's claimed, sometimes that works. However, I have found that is a problem. If I were to put if this was my cell and I had my villager, let's say I had my workstation here, villager in here, and if I were to put the bed somewhere else, maybe here, and he claims it, there's some designs that work that way, and on the Java edition, from all I know, that works. However, I'm finding that they're not restocking or keeping their trades on the PlayStation edition. I found it's best to keep the bed inside the room so that it's accessible from the trader. So what that means is we cannot make this as narrow of a cell as we would like. But that's just the way it is. So what I found works is first the villager needs to access, it seems, this block on that side of the head. That seems to be the key block they need to access in order to restock and sleep. So to make this work, we're going to move the bed here, and then we're going to close off the room. And you have to make sure you close off this block to keep them from waking up there. So then the entire room is going to be of this shape. So the room now is a 2x2 cell, which means the room can't be as, or when we tile this, that's going to be our space, and you're going to have 2 empty blocks between each workstation. Okay, but what this does is this ensures that they can access their workstation, so they can restock and they can access their bed. Alright, they need both of those things in order for you to improve the efficiency so that it always works. Or for the most part, always works. I can't say always because we always do get bugs. That's the only always. So that's the lessons you need to know. Okay, the next thing is they restock their trades twice per day. That means 2 times per day, game day, you can restock your trades, or you can retrade with the trader. On the first time, the very first trade, they will restock after 2 minutes. So when I'm testing my villagers for their job and I trade the first time, I'll be able to retrade 2 minutes afterwards, and then it goes to a 12-hour cycle. If they have 2 or more open blocks that they can walk on around their trading station, they seem to be able to trade more reliably. If I were to make a cell where if this were the trade station, and if I were to stuff the villager into that hole, it's not reliable. Allowing them to have an extra space, so at least 2 spaces to move, it seems that that's the most efficient way to get them to reliably restock. Okay? What else is there? You don't want to cover their workstation, okay, by putting something on top like that or a slab. It makes it where they can't access their workstation, and it reduces the likelihood that they're going to be able to restock. However, that presents a problem because baby zombies then can jump into that hole. So what I found that does work is putting a trap door here. It prevents things from getting in, but also they can access their workstation. So that's an important thing to take away. The last thing, as far as their schedule is concerned, they can pick their profession from, according to the game time, from 02,000 to 09,000. That's when they could pick their profession, and their profession could be updated. And so what that means is we're going to use a clock, and not a clock as in a redstone clock, but a clock that at those times it turns on. So this little redstone lamp here, using this circuit, will turn on with this daylight sensor at about those times. And that's when I can go in there and I can put down new workstations and change their trades. And that's going to make more sense when we get into the tutorial. You can lock their trades after their first trade. After trading with them for the first time, and I try to trade with them enough to make them level, they'll lock their trades even after you destroy their station. As long as you then replace the station or put them into a cell that has that station so they can claim a new station, they will keep the trades that they had. I think that's pretty much it. Anything else we'll kind of get into it as we go, but I think that covers the basics. So let's talk about the let's get to the construction. So we know each cell has to be a 2x2 square. Alright, so let's start this off. What I have here is this represents where our villagers are going to be stacked after our breeder. Okay, and we'll talk more about that at the end of the video when I discuss how to integrate this with your breeder. But this is going to be our collection point. All what this machine does is it sends a cart to pick them up. And you'll see this in work once we get the construction up. But that just sends a cart back to pick up the next villager and brings them to their cells. Alright, so let's get into the construction of this. This is going to be the first cell, and we're going to use a redstone lamp. Some of the things we're going to be using, you can kind of see here. These are some of the items we're going to use. So take a screenshot, or take note, but it'll make sense. So we know the spacing, so we're going to have a lamp, 1, 2, another lamp, 1, 2, another lamp. So like, let's say this is going to be 3 cells we'll construct. And then the next spot is going to be the workstation. So then I could fill that hole. And then what I like to do is use glass, like this, to allow me to look into their rooms. Okay, and you could decorate however you want. But I like to use glass here so I can see into their rooms. So let's go ahead and do all this. Let's fill this in. And we're going to leave these two here, where their workstation's going to be. Okay, so that's the front. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put a lever on each of these lights. And what this is going to do, it's going to close that cell so no future villagers can fall into there. And it's going to also light up saying, I've locked their trades. This is a good villager. This is a good trader. Alright, so to carry that back, we're going to go ahead and put torches on the backs of these. And that's going to energize these blocks. Oops. And then we're going to have torches on the back of those blocks. And then we're going to cover those to energize this block. And then we're going to have a torch on the side of these. And what that's going to do is we can go ahead and run a line of blocks along the top. And this is where our mine carts are going to come along a rail. I want to eject them from a minecart. There's plenty of designs that use villagers, they keep them in their minecarts, but I found it's just not that reliable. I want them to be able to walk to their beds and to their workstations, so I don't take any risk of losing trades. So this design is going to eject them. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and fill in the rest of their room. So this is going to be the 2x2 square. So this one needs it here. Alright, so let's see. Do this. Put some blocks there. Alright, and then we're ready to pretty much fill this in. For now, I'm going to leave this. So here's their 2x2 room. I'm going to put their beds here. I'm going to leave this bottom block open so that I can reach in there and place a bed afterwards. We can come back and fill that in later. We're going to close off the rooms. Just like this. Alright, so that's their individual rooms. So now the next thing I need to do is I need to put trap doors down. So the first one I'm going to put there. And before that, let's go ahead and flip these so I don't get stuck in here. So we're going to put this first trap door down like this on each cell. And what these are going to do is they're going to prevent it's going to let us know when that cell needs to be closed, and then it's going to prevent them from getting out when we don't have a workstation in because of that. Alright, and then we're going to put one more here. I like iron trap doors. I think they just look a little bit nicer. But that's going to be... So this is now ready for a villager to drop in. When I flip this lever, it closes. And that prevents when the workstation hears from anything from getting in. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to set up the unloader. So this is going to be using activator rails. We'll grab a couple things here. I think that's just about it. We're going to need some dust. So activator rails are going to go on top of the blocks that are going to be powered by these torches. So those. And then in between we're going to put normal rails. So one thing I'll say, right now, these blocks are going to be closed. If the light's on, they're closed. So these rails aren't on, so the incoming villager is going to pass right over them. So one thing I'll say is if you have a long stretch of rail where that's not being powered and they can't, they get stuck, they don't go the whole way, take one of these and replace it with a powered rail. Just put a lever on the side, turn it on. So that way they're getting propelled forward. Oops. Let's put that back. Okay, so we have the rail in place. We want them to be ejected into this block, or to this space, and they're going to fall down. So we need to close everything else out. So let's just do this. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're leaving that space open. And then we can go ahead and close everything else around it. because this activator rail is going to look for the closest open space to eject them. And then we need to go up 2. Just like that. Okay, so now to get them to eject, let's see. I think we got everything we need. We're going to want string as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we need an observer, and it's going to be on the incoming side of the activator rail. So there's the activator rail. They're coming from this side, so it's going to be here. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. So it's 2 high above the rail. Like this. And then we're going to put a normal piston along the side. Alright, now, we need string. We need string in front of the observer. What do I do here? Excuse me. Sneezing here. Okay, so we need to move this one over 1. We need to get rid of that string. String in front of the observer. Got it, got it, got it. Alright. So, we need blocks behind. And we need just a pulsive delay here. Okay, just so that when they hit the string a moment after, these pistons, the activator rail is going to separate them from the minecart. The piston's going to push them over so they fall down in. That's what this is going to do. So to get that to work, we are going to need a very minimal amount of redstone. So let's get into it. We're going to start by placing 2 long blocks there. Let's go ahead and run it all the way down to cover each of our cells. We can get rid of the middle ones like this. So we have a 2 by 2 behind each. Go ahead and put a block in this corner. A repeater to pull the signal out of this block that's energized by the observer, thus energizing these blocks, and then redstone pulling the pulse and sending it to the piston to push them in. And that's all the redstone we're going to need. And now these cells are completed. So it's time to test. Alright, so now that we have our first cells in place, it's time to test them out and call for a villager. So we'll make sure that the cell you want them to drop into, the light is off, suggesting that it does not have a villager in it. So, lights off. We're going to call for a villager. Don't hit them yourself or cause any major or minor negatives. The light is on so they can trade, or they can select their trades. Forward. And he drops into the cell. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place our first station. Whatever the workstation you want for this one villager. For him I want a librarian. So we drop a lectern. He's going to claim the job. I'm going to check his trades. Lure 1, channeling 1, let's see. So if I want them to trade their trades, change their trades, I'm going to do it now. So I'll keep placing and checking their trades. Ooh, efficiency 5, that'll work. So now that I've got their trades selected, I'm going to go around the back and I'm going to place their bed through that hole. Okay, so then what I could do is fill this hole in, turn the light on. I'm happy with this villager. And the very last thing I would do at this point is I would make a trade to lock his trade. So let's clear some room, and we're going to want some paper and some emeralds. There we go. And he's level 2, so we've leveled him, we've made some trades, we've locked this. So now he's locked into his trades, and at no point should he, unless a bug occurs, should he lose his trades. So we're happy with him. And then all you have to do is you need to repeat those steps with every cell. So you first flip the light off. You bring in a villager. Once they're in, You pick their workstation and keep replacing the workstation until you're happy with their trades. Once you do, you place the bed, flip the switch, and you're done. Well, make your trades, then you're done. The important thing is that there's no other workstations or no other beds or no other villagers, unemployed villagers, within about 115 blocks or so from here. Okay, so that's why you put it away from your breeders. Because if you notice that he drops in, you place the workstation, and he does not claim it, that means someone else is claiming it. Okay, same with the bed. You need to make sure he claims it. So the last thing I want to do is I'm going to show you how to make corners. Oh, we got some minecarts down here. So if I want to make a corner on this, let's see. So my next redstone lamp would be about there. Yeah, that would look pretty good like that. So this would be a workstation. This would be the side. So that would be my next room. All right, and a lever. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. So then what I would do is the train would come over, and it would drop into this cell. So the train line would be right here, or the minecart line. That's how it would make the turn. So we would have an activator rail right here. So on the sides, you can go ahead and put some powered rails in to propel them forward. And then all you would have to do is put a couple levers in to turn them on. Just like that. And then they're going to make the corner just fine. So that's how I would do the corner. You can make this as long as you want. You know, make a full 4 sides if you want. At any rate, it's fine. Last couple comments I would make here. If something were to happen and you lost interest in this villager, let's say in this cell, I do not want to kill him by hand in front of the others, or else they're going to receive a negative debuff. So one thing you could do, if you predicted that being an issue, is I could replace this glass block here with a dispenser. Let's get a dispenser. I would put that there. I need to get out. So far, I haven't needed to do this, but I just want to suggest it so you do have that option. We could put a lava bucket in here, and then we just put a button on the front. Just like that. So if you want, you could rig something up like that. So if for some reason you wanted to clear this villager, you have this option without doing it by hand and debuffing the other ones. So last minute thoughts. This station here, I wouldn't fret too much about it. You could take some screenshots if you want. But there's the timer to tell you when you should be sending villagers over. So when that light is lit, then it's time. The gathering point for all your unemployed villagers needs to be at least 115 blocks from your cells. Okay? So it wouldn't work if I have a whole bunch of villagers piled in here right now, because then the next bed I place, any of them could claim it. So they're going to be way down there. So you might have render issues. You might have to follow them as they come along the tracks. No big deal. But you bring them in here and do this one at a time. Do it one at a time. And make sure, like I said, you lock out their trades. So you may want to ensure you have a few emeralds set aside, some paper, some coal, some metal ingots, some of the things that they use in their first trades to ensure you lock their first trades. So I think that pretty much covers it. Remember some of the mechanics we talked about in the beginning. and pay special attention to that. That's going to reduce the likelihood you're going to have issues later down the line. Room design, what I found works best is a 2x2, so that they have a bed and a workstation and 2 open blocks that they can walk on, which is going to eliminate errors. Then we went into the tutorial and finally finished up with some thoughts on integration. So if you have any questions, please leave them below. Any comments, I'm glad to hear what you guys have to say, and I do my best to respond to all the pertinent comments. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like and subscribe for future PlayStation Minecraft tutorials. Alright, this is Trav.